The house went quiet in a way I didn't know was possible. Not peaceful, not calm, just empty, like something had been ripped out of the walls themselves. I was still sleeping on my side of the bed, still reaching out some nights before remembering there was no one there to reach back. I hadn't touched her things. Not her clothes, not her dresser, not that drawer. But that morning, I opened it anyway. And that's when I saw it. A small flash drive. Plain, almost forgettable, with a piece of tape on it in her handwriting. Open only if I die. My hands started shaking so bad I had to sit down. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe old photos, maybe something she forgot to delete. But deep down, something in me knew. My wife didn't leave things behind by accident. I stared at that drive for a long time before I finally plugged it in. And what I saw on that screen, it didn't just break my heart. It made me question everything I thought I knew about the woman I spent my life with, and what she might have been hiding from me all those years. Her name was Helen Whitaker, and for 46 years, she was the steady part of my life in Dayton, Ohio. I was the one who lost jobs, drank too much after my brother died, said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Helen was the one who kept birthdays straight, paid bills before they went red, and made Sunday dinner even when nobody deserved it. Our son, Mark, had not come to the funeral. He sent flowers with his secretary's handwriting on the card. My daughter Susan came, but she spent half the service whispering to her husband about the house, like grief was a formality before paperwork. I sat in the front pew, 74 years old, listening to people call Helen a saint, while my own children looked at me like I was one more burden she had left behind. 3 weeks later, Susan stood in my kitchen and told me I needed to make practical decisions. "Dad, you can't live here alone," she said. I looked at her mother's coffee mug still beside the sink. "I'm not selling this house." Her face tightened. "Mom would have wanted you taken care of." That was when I noticed she did not say loved. She said taken care of, like I was a problem with a price tag. After she left, I went upstairs angry enough to shake. I opened Helen's drawer because I was looking for her old insurance folder. Instead, beneath a stack of scarves, I found the drive. The video file was labeled simply, "For Frank." When Helen's face appeared on the screen, thinner than I remembered, wearing her blue robe in the little sewing room, I stopped breathing. "Frank," she said softly, "if you're watching this, then I'm gone. And I'm sorry. I should have told you while I was alive, but I was afraid they'd destroy you before I could prove it." Then she looked toward the closed door, like someone might be listening. "The children have been lying to you," she whispered. "And Mark. Mark is not who you think he is." I froze right there at the desk, my hand still on the mouse. Helen had never been dramatic, not once in all those years. If she said something like that, it meant she had carried it alone for a long time, and that thought alone made my chest tighten. On the screen, she took a slow breath like it hurt. "I know how this sounds," she said, "and I know you'll want to defend them. You always do. But you need to listen this time, Frank. Really listen." I leaned closer without even realizing it, like I could step into that room with her. "It started about 5 years ago," she continued, "after your heart scare. When you were in the hospital, Mark started coming by the house more often. At first, I thought he was just worried. I wanted to believe that. But then he began asking questions about your accounts, the house, the life insurance. My stomach turned. Mark had always been distant, but I told myself that was just how he was. Busy, important. Too important to call his father unless something was wrong. Helen's eyes dropped for a moment before she looked back into the camera. "I overheard him one afternoon," she said quietly. "He didn't know I was home. He was on the phone, talking about what would happen when it's over. That's what he called your life, Frank. When it's over." I felt something hot rise up in my chest. But it wasn't anger yet. It was something worse. It was doubt trying to find a place to land. "No," I said out loud to the empty room. That's not him." But Helen kept going. "I confronted him," she said. He smiled, just smiled, like I was confused, told me I misunderstood, and I wanted to believe him. God help me. I wanted to believe my own son. She paused, and for the first time, I saw something in her face I had never seen before. Fear. But then Susan started coming around too, she said. And the way they spoke to each other when they thought I wasn't listening, it wasn't about you, Frank. Not really. It was about what you had. What you'd leave behind. I pushed myself back in the chair so hard it scraped across the floor. That wasn't right. That couldn't be right. These were my children. I raised them. I taught them better than that, didn't I? On the screen, Helen leaned closer, her voice dropping even lower. There's more, she said. Something I didn't understand at first. Something about paperwork, signatures, things being moved without your knowledge. My hands started shaking again, just like when I first picked up that drive. And Frank, she said, her voice barely above a whisper now. If I'm right about what they've already done, then by the time you're watching this... She stopped. For a second, she just stared into the camera, and I could see tears in her eyes. You might not own anything at all anymore. I didn't move for a long time after she said that. The room felt smaller somehow, like the walls had leaned in while I wasn't paying attention. My house. The place I'd paid off with 30 years at the plant, double shifts, missed holidays. She was telling me it might not even be mine anymore. No, I muttered again. But it sounded weaker this time. On the screen, Helen wiped at her eyes, steadying herself the way she always did when things got hard. I didn't want to believe it, she said. So I started checking things quietly. Bank statements, property records, anything I could get my hands on without tipping them off. My chest tightened. That was Helen, careful, methodical. She never jumped to conclusions. And Frank, she went on. I found things that don't make sense. Transfers you didn't authorize, small at first, then bigger. Accounts you haven't used in years suddenly active again. I felt a cold wave run through me. I hadn't looked closely at our finances in a long time. I trusted her with all of it. And after she got sick, I trusted that everything was still the same. I went to the bank, she said. They showed me signatures, your name, but not your handwriting. My hand curled into a fist on the desk. That's not possible, I said under my breath. I never signed anything. But even as I said it, I remembered the stack of papers Mark had brought over last year. He said it was insurance updates, said it would make things easier if anything happened. I hadn't read them closely, just signed where he pointed. On the screen, Helen nodded slowly, like she knew exactly what I was thinking. They've been preparing, Frank, she said, for longer than we realized. I stood up then, pacing the room, my legs unsteady but moving anyway. Every step felt like it was landing on something fragile, something cracking under the weight. I tried to confront Susan, Helen continued. I thought maybe she'd tell the truth, but she didn't. She got angry, said I was paranoid, said I was trying to turn you against them. That sounded like Susan, always quick to flip things around when she felt cornered. Helen took a breath and her voice softened. I wanted to tell you, she said, so many times, but you love them and I was afraid you wouldn't believe me. Or worse, that it would break you. I stopped pacing, because she was right. Even now, part of me was still reaching for excuses, still trying to patch together a version of my children that didn't look like strangers. Then Helen leaned closer again, her expression tightening with urgency. So I did something instead, she said. I felt my stomach drop. I gathered everything, she continued. Copies of documents, account records, property filings, proof of what they've been doing. My heart started pounding again, louder this time. I hid them where they wouldn't think to look, she said. Somewhere only you would find them, if you were paying attention. I stepped closer to the screen without realizing it. Where, Helen? I whispered. She looked straight into the camera, like she could see me standing there. If you're watching this, she said, then they may already be moving faster than we expected. And if that's true, she hesitated just long enough to make my pulse spike. Then you need to understand something before you go looking. Her voice dropped low, almost shaking now. They're not just lying, Frank. They're desperate. And then she added, barely audible, and desperate people do things you never think your own family is capable of. I didn't even realize I was holding my breath until my chest started to hurt. Helen had never talked like that. Not about our own children. Not with that kind of fear in her voice. I reached for the keyboard, paused the video, then just stood there staring at her frozen face. My Helen. The same woman who used to tuck notes into my lunchbox. Who believed people were good, even when they gave her every reason not to. And now she was warning me. I pressed play again. They've been pushing for control, she said. Legal control. Medical, financial, all of it. They want decisions in their hands before you even realize what you've signed away. My mind went straight back to those papers Mark brought over. His calm voice, his wife sitting quietly beside him, nodding along like everything was perfectly reasonable. Just routine updates, Dad. I felt sick. Helen shifted slightly in her chair, like she was in pain but trying not to show it. I spoke to a lawyer, she continued. Quietly. Didn't tell them. I needed to understand how far things had already gone. That made me straighten up. If they've filed what I think they've filed, she said, then parts of your estate may already be tied up in documents you never fully agreed to. My throat went dry. You need to check the county records, she said. Look for filings under your name, or anything connected to power of attorney. Don't trust what they tell you. Don't sign anything else, not a single piece of paper. I rubbed my face with both hands, trying to steady myself. This wasn't just suspicion anymore. This was something real, something that could be proven. Then Helen's voice softened again, and that hurt more than anything. I wish I had been stronger, she said. I should have stopped it sooner, but I kept thinking, they're our children. They'll come back to who they were. I closed my eyes, because I had been thinking the same thing. Even now. They didn't, she whispered. Silence filled the room for a second before she continued. There's a folder, she said. Not in the house. I knew they'd search here if they ever got suspicious. I opened my eyes fast. It's somewhere they'd never bothered to look. Somewhere tied to you, not them. My heart started pounding again. I left you a clue, Frank, she said. Something small. Something you'd recognize if you really thought about it. I turned slowly, scanning the room like the answer might be sitting right in front of me. Helen leaned closer to the camera one last time. Think about the place you stopped going, she said quietly. The one you avoided after everything that happened. The place connected to your brother. My chest tightened hard at that. I hadn't thought about that place in years. Not since the night we buried him. Helen's eyes filled with tears. That's where I hid it, she whispered. Then she glanced toward the door again, sharper this time, like she heard something. And her voice dropped into something I had never heard before. Pure fear. Frank, if they find out you're looking. The video glitched for a second. Her face froze. Then came a loud sound in the background, like a door slamming open, and the screen cut to black. I don't remember grabbing my coat. I don't remember locking the door. 1 minute I was standing in that room, staring at a black screen, and the next, I was halfway down the street with my keys in my hand, breathing like a man half my age and twice as scared. My brother Daniel had been buried out by an old stretch of land just outside Dayton. Not a cemetery, not exactly. A patch of ground behind the church he used to go to before everything went wrong. I hadn't been back there in 15 years. Not since the night I stood over his grave and promised myself I'd forget the whole mess. Helen knew that. That's why she chose it. The drive out felt longer than it should have. Every set of headlights behind me made my chest tighten. Every turn felt like someone might already be waiting. I kept hearing her voice in my head. If they find out you're looking. By the time I pulled onto that dirt road, the sun was already dropping. The place looked smaller than I remembered. Neglected. quiet in a way that didn't feel peaceful. I stepped out of the car and just stood there for a moment, listening. Nothing. Just wind moving through dry grass. Daniel's grave marker was still there, crooked like always. I walked toward it slowly, my knees stiff, my heart beating harder with every step. I hadn't even brought a flashlight. I didn't think that far ahead. I just came. "All right, Helen," I muttered. "I'm here. Now what?" I looked around, trying to think like her. Something I'd recognize. Something tied to me. And then I saw it. Off to the side of the grave. An old metal box, half buried near the tree where I used to sit the night we lost him. I hadn't noticed it before. Maybe I never looked close enough. My hands shook as I knelt down and pulled it free from the dirt. It was heavier than it looked. Rusted at the edges, but locked. For a second, I just stared at it. Then I remembered. The key. Helen always kept a spare key taped inside the old photo frame in the hallway. I hadn't moved it. I hadn't touched anything. It had to still be there. I drove back faster than I should have. Didn't think about the speed limit. Didn't think about anything except getting inside that house again. When I stepped through the front door, the air felt different. Wrong. I stopped. Something had been moved. It was small, subtle, but I knew my house. A chair slightly out of place. The hallway light left on when I was sure I'd turned it off. Someone had been there. My heart started pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. I walked slowly to the hallway, reached up, and took the photo frame off the wall. My fingers slid behind it. And there it was, the key, still taped exactly where Helen left it. Whoever came through here, they didn't know. Not yet. I went back to the living room, dropped the metal box onto the table, and unlocked it with shaking hands. Inside, there were folders, dozens of pages, bank statements, legal documents, copies of signatures, and photos. I picked one up. It was Mark, standing outside a bank, with a man I didn't recognize. On the back, in Helen's handwriting, it said, "Attorney, filed power of attorney without your knowledge." My stomach dropped. I flipped to another photo. Susan, sitting in a cafe, sliding a folder across the table to someone. Another note. "Property transfer discussion. They think you're already declining." My hands started trembling so bad I had to sit down. They hadn't just been planning. They had already started. Years ago. Then I found the document at the bottom of the box. A full legal filing. My name at the top. A request to declare me mentally unfit. Signed by both of my children. And dated 3 weeks before Helen died. I stared at it, my vision blurring. All those nights Helen sat beside me. All those quiet looks. She knew. She knew they were trying to take everything, even my mind, and she was fighting it alone. Then I heard it, a sound behind me, the front door, slowly opening. I didn't turn around right away. At my age, you learn something about fear. You don't rush it. You let it settle, let it show you what it really is. My hands were still resting on that box, those papers spread out like evidence in a courtroom I never asked to be part of. The door creaked wider behind me. Slow. Careful. Like whoever it was didn't want to startle me, or didn't care if they did. I finally stood up. Every joint in my body stiff, my heart beating so hard it felt like it might give out right there in my own living room. "Mark?" I said. My voice sounded smaller than I expected. No answer. Just footsteps. One step, then another, steady, deliberate, coming closer across the hardwood floor Helen used to polish every Sunday morning. I turned, and there he was, my son, standing in the doorway like he belonged there more than I did. His eyes dropped for half a second to the papers on the table, the open box, the photos. I saw it in his face, that quick flicker. Not surprise. Recognition. "You weren't supposed to find that," he said quietly. No anger, no panic. Just disappointment. Like I had inconvenienced him. I felt something inside me break clean in two. "I trusted you," I said. He let out a slow breath, rubbing the back of his neck the same way he used to when he was a teenager caught in a lie. But there was no shame in it now. "You signed the documents, Dad," he said. "We didn't force you." My hands shook at my sides. "You lied about what they were." "We simplified things," he replied, stepping further into the room. "You were getting older." "You still are." I stared at him. This? I gestured to the papers. "Declaring me unfit? Taking the house? The accounts?" He didn't even flinch. "It's called planning," he said. "You think Susan and I were just going to sit around and wait until everything fell apart? Hospitals, debts, taxes. We handled it before it got messy. By stealing from me?" His jaw tightened just slightly. "It was going to be ours anyway." That did it. Not the lies, not the documents. That sentence. Like my whole life had already been filed away and stamped complete. "Your mother knew," I said. For the first time, he hesitated. Just a second. But I saw it. "She shouldn't have gone digging," he muttered. My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" He looked at me then. Really looked at me. And there was something in his eyes I had never seen before. Something cold. "She was sick, Dad," he said. "Very sick. People get confused. They start imagining things." I took a step toward him. "No," I said. "No, don't you do that. Don't you rewrite her like that." He didn't move, didn't back up, didn't raise his voice. "You need to stop this," he said calmly. "Close the box. Forget you saw it. We can still fix things if you cooperate." My hands curled into fists. "And if I don't?" For a moment, the room went completely still. Even the air felt like it stopped moving. Then Mark reached into his jacket, slow, deliberate, and pulled something out. If this story meant something to you, subscribe. There's more to come.